Welcome to The Lock Shop with Nielson and Hustler, powered by Coolbet Canada.
Hello, welcome to The Lock Shop. Thank you very much for being here. It's 11:02 on Edmonton Sports Talk. If you're listening on TuneIn or iHeart or at edmontonsportstalk.com. Thank you very much for being here. You can text us anytime, 780-218-9999. We got the oil stream coming up at noon. Just so you know, between shows, I was doing some prep for the oil stream. And on Puck PD, you can go and see other rosters that people have put together. And there's some Oilers ones with Rantanen on there. So we're going to get into it on oil stream today. Yeah, it should be very fun. Those rosters are popping up all the time. So hopefully I can find the one that I was looking at today. But I found a way to fit them in. Not me, other people. But we'll get into that a little bit. If you're watching The Lock Shop today, hammer the thumbs up for us. That should be fun. It's going to be a great night. We've got Lock Shop Poker Series tonight. I'll be streaming from about 8 o'clock till, I don't know, when I win it at midnight. Maybe not. Maybe I'll be streaming from 8 until 8:30 tonight. With the way things have been going for me lately, that could be the case. If you have not yet signed up for the Lock Shop Poker Series event tonight, I did tweet out about an hour ago the directions again from the fine folks over at Coolbet. It is not that difficult. I mean, we've had somewhere between 70 to 90 people in pretty much every single one of these things. So it's not insanely difficult to track down. You literally go to Poker at Coolbet and download or play in the browser. For me, I've downloaded the poker software. So you go to coolbet.com, download the poker software, install it, log in with your Coolbet ID, and then just click on tournaments and search lock, and it'll pop up and you can register and join us tonight. Bounty on my head, bounty on Awanik's head, bounty on Gazzola's head, and a bounty on Remus's head. So I don't know if Pat knows about my poker experience yesterday. So, I mean, I'm due here. I got to bring this in. Let's bring in Pat Gregoire. He's joining us today. We're going to get to Pebble. I didn't get to your thoughts on TGL on Monday either because Jake was in. So we'll get to that here at some point as well. Yeah, but Patty, did you hear what happened to me yesterday in poker?
I saw the tweet. I heard that it was very short-lived.
It's just embarrassing. Like I couldn't even stand up when I got eliminated because I was like, damn, I might be the first person in this entire event to be eliminated. Like it was that bad. I recapped it this morning on the Nielson show, and Eric really doesn't know anything about poker, so he kind of glossed over his head. But on the very first hand, so we're playing in this Edmonton Oilers Players Charity Tournament for a great cause with kids, and the players were playing, and then I went with one of our partners, Bruce from William Huff, sit down at the table. Nugent Hopkins is sitting right next to me. Bouchard's at the other end of the table. Very first hand I get dealt. Ace, king of clubs. I'm like, oh man, like starting, and I was the big blind. Like I was forced to be in anyway. I was like, this is a dream come true. And then the flop comes up, 3 spades, but one of them's a king. So I'm like, well, I mean, I got the king. Unless somebody flopped a flush, I'm in a pretty good spot here. The next 2 cards pretty much did not change anything. And then it's funny because I checked with kings, and then Bouchard actually checked with a flush. So we both showed, and he beat me with a flush, took half my stack on the very first bloody hand. And then I had kings, and Nuge dropped pocket aces on me on the only other hand that I decided to get into. So I was out. Like I saw about 15, 16 hands. I only played the 2 of them, and the 2 of them that I played, I lost. And then, of course, the Costa Rica tournament, I didn't even last 8 minutes. So I need a full-blown poker redemption tonight, buddy. I have to. I have to make like the final 20 tonight, or it's embarrassing. There's a lot of stress tonight.
If it's another short-lived tournament, the Dustin Nielson Summit, Poker Summit might be happening.
Right. Like somebody teach me how to properly play this game. It's just, it's so tough.
No, hey, you know what? Poker, it is absolutely a game of skill. It's a game that, of course, obviously, the more you play, the better you are. But sometimes it's all about not just the hands that you are dealt, but the hands around you. And it just seems like you haven't got the poker bounces. The poker gods haven't been on your side. I feel like tonight, Dusty, you're going to go on a deep run. I can feel it. I feel like these bounces are going to start coming your way.
That, or I go out on kings again, and I'll be furious. So we see, but it's funny you mentioned like poker is a game of skill, because I was talking about this, I think Monday morning on our show. Anyway, I was at a hockey tournament, out of town hockey tournament this past weekend for Marshall. And Saturday night, one of the dads grabbed a roll of 20 quarters from like the desk, and we decided to just play poker with some quarters. So do the math. Was it 80 quarters? There was like 8 of us. So we each had 10 quarters to start. And we're like, look, there's not enough quarters here to like raise. And so all we did was we dealt the cards. You looked at your 2 cards. If you liked them, you'd get in. And that was it. And then we'd flip them over. And then we'd lay out the river and everything. So it was just, and it was interesting to see how many awful hands end up winning. Like, because, but those hands usually get eliminated along the way, right? So it was an interesting lesson in poker. I was like, man, like these hands that should have been folded a long time ago are coming up quite often. I mean, you have to have the balls to play them, but it really is. That's why I like poker so much, man. It is I love it. I love it. I haven't been good at it lately, but I love it.
It's a lot more fun though when you're winning, or when you're lasting longer.
Get yourself a stack, right? And do something with it.
Exactly. But no, I feel like the vibes are changing. The vibes are changing for you, Dusty. You're gonna get those bounces tonight.
We'll see. If not, it'll be a full-blown meltdown on the stream tonight. So if you're watching on YouTube right now, let it be known that I'll be back streaming tonight at 8 o'clock for the Lock Shop Poker Series. And if you're listening on TuneIn or iHeart or EdmontonSportsTalk.com, you can sign up by going to Coolbet.com and downloading the poker software. I had somebody today say, hey, Dusty, do you have to have a computer to play, or can I play on my phone? And I know Jake yesterday said you can actually play in the browser on your phone. So you can just play from your phone as well. About $30 to get in.
One thing I did want to say too, Dusty, I don't know about the poker app, but I'm on the desktop right now.
Yeah.
And when you go in, you go to the home page. You don't even have to hit tournaments right now. You can see on the bottom in the featured games, right below in that left corner, you can see the Lock Shop logo. Click that logo right there, and it will take you right to the Lock Shop Poker Series. So we are under the featured tab on the browser. I don't know if it's like that in the poker software, but when you just play in the browser, I can see it right here. So already 8 entries. We know the lock shoppers like to roll in a little bit late or close to time. Jake shoots his blood pressure up thinking no one's going to show up. It's like when you have a big party, you got all the appetizers out, the meals in the oven, and you're freaking out no one's going to come, and 5 minutes before, everyone just starts showing up, coming in, and it ends up being a great party. That's kind of like what the Lock Shop Poker Series is for Jake. Freaking out.
I can see that. Just
my friends aren't going to come.
People show up. I mean, I think 8 is actually more than usually registered at this time.
It is.
So
it is.
I think people are excited. Yeah, no, I don't know. There's a different vibe around this one. I don't know why, but I'm fired up for this tonight. So, it's nice getting the feature promotion thing too. That's pretty cool. I see that right there, right in front of me. So yeah, just hop on a Coolbet, click at the top on poker, and then you'll see us not far down. So right under the top banner, and you can click on it right there. So makes it
four bounties too. 4 bounties tonight. You, Gazzola, Iwanek, and Remus, since Huss isn't there. So 4 bounties up for grabs as well. So lots of opportunities if you don't win. Hey, maybe that's what you can start doing, Dusty. If you run on the same table as Gazzola or Iwanek or Remus,
get those bounties.
Get those bounties. Maybe you just become the bounty hunter.
Well, Gazzola took my bounty last tournament.
So, I know. Revenge game.
Son of a gun. Game. I'm coming out. If I'm at his table early, I'm going to be going after him. I'm not afraid of a rebuy or two. So let's see how this goes tonight. But it's going to be a really good time. So be fun. Jake says, man, I'm the absolute worst leading up to these events. Like then I blink and everyone's there by 8 p.m. It is true. It's but that's usually how it works. Okay, time for poker. Go in, register. People are too busy to pre-register. That's how it works in life, I think, right now.
Exactly.
We're going to get to the NHL slate. I'm running back Dusty's Undies. I feel like I got hosed last night, so I'm going to do that again. And we're going to get to golf. Lots of stuff on Pebble. But I do want your thoughts on the TGL. Let's just start there, and then we'll probably set up the NHL slate tonight. Then we'll get into our picks. But what did you think of Monday night, man? That was a good time.
It was awesome. I really enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed it, actually. I thought it was probably the best by far the best match that they've had so far. And from what I could see, ratings were the highest it's ever been. I mean, there's only been 3-4 weeks, but it was by far the best ratings. You knew that was going to happen with Tiger versus Rory. But then when you put in the fact that it was a close match, went back, it was absolutely neck and neck the entire time. And then we got overtime. I think a little bit of the overtime numbers might have been a bit inflated. I know there was a college basketball game that actually got put on the back burner. People had to flip over to ESPNU. That's where the TGL is, where they stand. That Duke and whoever it was, I forget who the other team was, you had to go flip to ESPNU. They weren't cutting coverage for that. Kind of goes to show you the magnitude that those two golfers have, and maybe what ESPN has invested behind this product. But I loved it. The chirping was great. I thought the characters, obviously, Tom Kim is perfectly made for arena golf. We've seen him in the President's Cup. He's been electric, such a great personality. So I think, adding him into the fold on that Jupiter team was great. All in all, it was by far the best. And I think if you can kind of replicate, of course, you can't replicate that every single time, but if you can have those closer matches on a Monday or a Tuesday during the dog days of winter, like, why wouldn't you flip that on? And of course, you're not going to be completely locked in, 2.5 hours sitting on your couch, focused on the entire match. But in terms of like an easy watching sporting event, I love it. I'm doing my NLL prep this weekend, or this week, for my games this weekend. So I'm doing my notes while I had that on.
Yeah,
I was having a blast. I was having a blast. I think it's a really, really good introduction to the casual sports fan to try to get them into golf. I think that's what they're trying to do, and I think that's exactly what it's doing here.
I thoroughly enjoyed it. Like, my family, my kids are kind of into it a bit. It's an easy have on if we're having supper, and kind of just turn the TV and I always imagine when I say I'm going to turn the TV, it's like in Back to the Future when Marty McFly was at his mom's place and they're like, look, the TV's on wheels. We can watch Jackie Gleason while we eat. And I always say that to the kids. I'm always like, I'm just going to turn the TV over here so we can watch TGL while we eat. So we enjoy it. I mean, I really like it. I think it's been a pretty good go for them so far.
And I think you're right. Like, talking about your kids, like, I think that's the best way to, I think if you're 30 years old or 40 years old and you're not really a huge golf fan, I don't know if TGL is automatically going to turn you into a golf fan, but for the younger generation, I think that's where you can really get them invested in golf. Of course, when you then go to take them out and they're looking around, hey, where's the lava? I thought we were supposed to be shooting balls over lava. Okay, maybe that doesn't help, but it's a very easy way to try to get them to know the names, know the faces, and then as they get older, have a little more patience. Because let's be honest, there's not many people who actually sit on a couch on a Saturday or a Sunday and watch wall-to-wall coverage. It just doesn't happen.
That's tough to do. I mean, that's a whole day's commitment. Like, that's a big time.
Unless I finish my chores the day before and my wife allows me to on a Sunday, that's not a major. Majors, we have ourselves a deal. The Masters, the US, that comes with the contract that we have. But for the Century or whatever, people aren't watching, 6, 7, 8 hours of golf. It's just not happening. So I think this is the perfect way to do it. They hit this beauty spot in between the NFL and the start of NBA playoffs and NHL playoffs and baseball starting off. This is the time to do it. And I think they've knocked it out of the park here.
It's funny you talk about the deals for television and stuff. It must have been a few years ago now. But I don't know, it was 1 year I had obviously I watch a lot of football in the basement, and we have a 55-inch in the living room kind of by the kitchen. And I had football on one day, and I'll never forget this moment. It was on and the kids are running around playing, and Tammy, my wife, says to me, she goes, I kind of like having football on Sundays up here. I was like, what? What did you just say? I got aroused immediately. I was like, this is incredible. So we just, now football Sundays is just kind of on in the house as we do stuff throughout the day. Yep. So mission accomplished. I mean, that was absolutely terrific. Speaking of the NFL, obviously Super Bowl. There's one market that I want to take a look at that's available right now for the Super Bowl. We'll get there. Just tying it back around to the poker tournament tonight. No Huss tonight because he's in Costa Rica living his best life as always. Like, I don't even know if I'll be able to live a life like him when we're in Boston together. It's just Huss is going to be like doing his thing and I'll be in the background like working and stuff. It's just, what a guy. Like last night when he sends that picture outside Hooters and he's like, I have to celebrate the WST parlay while he's in Costa Rica to play poker. I can't imagine the life,
It's so funny. That's what I said too. I was like, when in Costa Rica, you gotta have the local cuisine in Hooters. But no, he's on an all-time heater right now, man. It's awesome, and I know he's got to dial it in at some point here, though. This is a business trip. We do need him focusing on the poker tournament. We're expecting big things, so maybe not too many margaritas, too many chicken wings. We're in all seriousness, of course, he's going to have some fun, but I would love to see him or either Shags be able to at least make it to the main event. One of those guys can sneak into the main event on that Saturday or Friday. That would be absolutely awesome because this is a big time poker tournament. This isn't just, any Tom, Dick, or Harry sitting at the table. There are some pros going to be down at this tournament. So it'll be, I think it'll be pretty cool to see one of those guys go on a run.
I would expect, and Jake and I joked about this a little bit yesterday, I would expect just a text from Haas being like on Sunday, like, you'll never made it. You'll never believe it. I made it to Monday. I'm going to have to be late coming back. I was just, of course, like he's just on a heater right now. So I could definitely see that happening. That's going to be terrific. Anyway, 100%. That's good. Before we get to the NHL slate tonight, National Football League, I just want to slide in there. Yesterday, Jake and I took a look at Super Bowl anytime touchdown scores. If you want to get in early on some of these numbers, and we'll get to game props and stuff definitely next week. But the MVP odds are up, and I wanted to dive into that a little bit today. By the way, you can bet the MVP coming from the losing team, like Connor McDavid and the Conn Smythe this year. It's 25-1. You know what? I don't think they would ever give it to him, but if anybody could do it, what if Saquon has a huge game? Nobody on Kansas City really does anything of significance, and they have another classic team win. I mean, that would be the only path to this, I think.
I actually was just talking about this when I was getting my haircut yesterday with my barber.
Oh, sorry. I should have said nice haircut, Patty. That's my bad. I feel so guilty when the other person mentions their new haircut and I didn't pick up on it. God.
Well, that's one of your most elite skills is knowing when people get haircuts.
YouTube Trev. That's YouTube Trev. That's his thing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. It's YouTube Trev. What I was saying is full transparency, like Jake said, I already placed a bet on the Chiefs to win. I will not play this game again. But what I think I might do is hedge my bet here with a Saquon Barkley MVP, because in all likelihood, if the Eagles do win, I mean, I'm sure Jalen Hurts at plus 375 possibly could be that option as well. But there's also a chance that maybe, just maybe, we get an all-out showdown. Mahomes is okay. Kelsey doesn't play all that great. And it's just kind of like no one from KC really stands out. But we see a 160-yard, 2 or 3 touchdown performance from Saquon, and the Chiefs just outlast the Eagles. I could see a world where they give it to Barkley. I really do, especially the fact that he's in the MVP race, but probably won't win. This might be a way where he can, really have that exclamation point on such an unbelievable year. And it's kind of even looking at the possibilities. So say if you wanted to bet on the Eagles, you put $40 on them to win, your return's $82.40. If you put $20 on Barkley to win, you're getting $80 back. If you put $20. If you put $20 on Hurts to win the MVP, you get $95 back. It might be worth it just to sprinkle $20 on Saquon and Hurts to win the MVP, if that's the way you're thinking instead, because your return on is going to be about the same as the Eagles money line. But if you're thinking it's going to be either one of those guys, you put 20, it's basically the same return and a better return if it ends up being Hurts. And let's not forget, the best game of Jalen Hurts' career, he's never been able to duplicate it, was that game against the Chiefs. Well, when you look at it from a statistical standpoint, that was his best game ever. Is he going to be able to do it again? I don't know. But I think if the Eagles win, it's going to be Hurts, it's going to be Barkley, one of those guys to win it.
780-218-9999, 780-218-9999 over in the nasty chat as well. Yeah, Mahomes plus 100, Saquon plus 300, Jalen Hurts plus 375, Kelsey plus 1,700. If you had to throw a dart at somebody beyond those four, where would the dart be thrown?
Now, I really don't think there's a world where it's not one of those four guys, to be quite honest, or those three guys even. But what if because everyone's talking about how great these offenses are. I think their defenses are very good too. What about a Chris Jones? What about a Jalen Carter? If one of those guys, if it becomes a little more of a defensive slugfest, you only see maybe the total's at 49. What about if it's closer to a 24-21 game and Carter and Jones end up, really getting after these quarterbacks? Maybe it's one of those guys. That's maybe where I look. Maybe a Devonta Smith at 5-1, but with the way that the Eagles spread it around, and the fact of the matter is, I think the easiest path to victory here from an offensive standpoint for the Eagles is just feeding Saquon, because I know the Chiefs during the regular season, their run defense was phenomenal. It's been a little bit leaky. Look what James Cook was able to do in that second half. Hell, the Bills could have won that game if they didn't get away from the run. I think Saquon can really expose this Chiefs defense. So I keep coming back to Barkley at that 300. So if I had to choose one, I'd go with one of those defensive players on the other side of the ball and just hope and pray.
The one that I might throw up here, and it would be tough to see the Chiefs win a Super Bowl and Mahomes not get it. But
that's what I mean, man.
But Kareem Hunt could have a 2-touchdown game. Pacheco's basically done nothing. Kareem Hunt actually looks really good. I don't think it's crazy to think that Kareem Hunt could go off for 90 to 110 yards and 2 touchdowns in this game either. And then if Mahomes only throws 1 touchdown and maybe there's a turnover there, I think I don't mind that. I'm going to definitely sprinkle Kareem Hunt. You bet $10 on Kareem Hunt, he wins the MVP. You win 600. I think I outside of those top four, I think Kareem Hunt might be my next favorite play.
Yeah, you know what? That's not a terrible call. We know how well the Eagles secondary is, so maybe they might give Patrick Mahomes a little bit of fits, and maybe Andy Reid, like we saw Patrick Mahomes himself run the ball a lot more. Andy Reid's not afraid to mix things up, and whatever is going to be the path to victory is going to be the path to victory. So yeah, I could see that, and of course this is why it's called a home run sprinkle, a long shot. We know it's probably coming from one of those first three, maybe even Kelsey 4. So I don't hate it. I'll probably put a $5 sprinkle on there with you, and it's a hope and a prayer. But the more we talk about this, man, I know I already placed my money line bet on Sunday, and I think it was at minus 115. It's up to 125.
Yeah, it's minus 125.
I feel like now at this point, if you're gonna bet on the Chiefs, you might as well just bet Mahomes at plus 100 and maybe sprinkle one of those guys down the board.
Good point.
As an
good
insurance,
point. You
right?
could do that. Yeah.
If you have a little bit of an insurance of a Kelsey, or like you said with Kareem Hunt, maybe you do that. You do a little bit of insurance there, but I don't see a world where this Chiefs team wins a game and it's not on the heels of a Patrick Mahomes performance.
Just quickly, one note back to Kareem Hunt: touchdowns in 4 straight football games too. So we'll see. I think there could be a 2-touchdown game coming for him in the Super Bowl. All right, let's slide over to the NHL slate tonight. Should note that Dusty's Undies already up, and it's at minus 102. This did not hit last night, a real ball buster, actually. And I was telling Jake yesterday, I did that lucky 6-3 bet or whatever, or lucky 9, whatever it is. I had 63 different bets on 6 games, combined every possible way last night on under 7.5. And 2 of the games I had included in there. Like if you look at the NHL last night, there were 8 games. 2 of them finished over 8 goals or 8 goals or more, and happened to be 2 of them that I had in my one bet. So I'm running it back tonight. Dusty's Undies is back up once again. I'm not a coward. I'm going to double down on this. I'm on the Florida Panthers and the Los Angeles Kings under 7.5, the Leafs and Wild under 7.5, and the Canucks and Preds under 7.5 as well. It was minus 120. It was boosted. It was up to plus 105. It's now sitting at minus 102. And I think just 5 games tonight. We'll get you your starting goalies in a second. But I don't know. I mean, Toronto, Minnesota. Do you think there's going to be 8 goals scored in that hockey game?
No, I mean, that's not the Leafs of new anymore. They play low event hockey. They're very opportunistic, I guess you could say. They're more concerned about playing a more steady game. It doesn't always happen that way. And Minnesota's kind of really been bitten by the injury bug. Kaprizov, he's out for quite some time now. I believe he's actually even getting surgery.
Like a month or something.
They think he's going to be back, which is crazy, but he's going to be out for a while, and they have been struggling as of late. So, I definitely don't think, and especially that would I bet the under 5.5? Absolutely not. But if you're going to tease it up in the Undies, of course, I don't see this being an all out offensive battle. So I like what you got there for sure. I think the Dusty's Undies is onto something. I didn't even
wait for the boost. I was so angry after last night. I was like, I went on last night and looked at tonight's games, and I found 3 5.5s, and I was just like, doesn't matter. I'm right back on it. So I got it. I think I got it around the minus. I think I got it at about minus 107 or something last night. So not bad. I still like the number. That's why I like these. That's why I like these parlays, and then you get the boost on it. And it's even that much better. So you can find that in the combo cards right now. There's some combo cards for the upcoming Pebble Beach Pro-Am that we'll get to while we're there as well. But let's just quickly look at the starting goaltenders for tonight. Philip Gustafson is good to go for Minnesota. That's good news for the Undies. Joseph Woll for Toronto, unconfirmed at this point. Bobrovsky versus Kemper in that Kings-Florida's game. Jake Allen, unconfirmed. Samuel Ersson, unconfirmed right now. Thatcher Demko is likely. UC Saros is also likely. And the final one, man, Daily Faceoff's website kind of bothers me sometimes. Nedeljkovic and Connor Ingram, unconfirmed at this point as well. So it's not an insanely light slate in the NHL, but there are only 5 games tonight. Outside of the Undies here, what else do you like, Patty? Anything else hopping off the page for you?
I'll be honest, man. Nothing's really popping off at the board right now. Maybe Panthers and Reg. And that might also be me just so furious with the Kings and blowing my best bet against the Wings. But again, they're due, but I don't really like them in that spot. The Devils have been in shambles as of late. I don't know if you can really ever trust the Maple Leafs at any point. Minus 172, that's way too juicy. What I do like, though, I do like the under, and it looks like it's actually already moved. The under 6 in the Penguins and Utah. This has been a very long road trip for the Penguins. And I was laying it out, all about how poor they defend and how many goals they give up. What I forgot to mention as well is they've been struggling to score goals as well. So when you take an over, sure, they're going to maybe give up goals, but when both teams can't score, that's also a problem as well. So I kind of like that there, but there's a couple of props that I do really like. William Nylander, anytime goal at plus 125. I saw today, I don't know where I saw this, but he has done really well against the Wild over the past few years. 5 goals or 5 straight games. He's scored a goal, and he's scored 7 times in that span of 5 games. So I don't know what it is with the Wild. I don't know. Again, obviously they only play twice a year, so that's spanning over a couple of years, or a few years, but he's been hot, and you're getting it at plus money. So I like him to find the back of the net there. And then my other prop that I like as well is Jack Hughes over 3.5 shots. I mentioned how they've been struggling. They've got some injuries as well. But he's got to get going. If they're going to get out of the funk that they're in, going to need to shoot. I think he's hit this prop 3 of the last 4 or 5 games. So Hughes over 4 shots is the other prop that I like there. In terms of money line, man, I think I'm going to have to lean on you here because I really can't get a great read on anything.
I mean, there's a couple here that I like. You're right about Pittsburgh. They've scored 1 goal in 3 straight games. So I actually do like the Leafs tonight. It's minus 172. Throw it in on a parlay. I mean, I think it's a very parlayable number. So, I mean, those aren't words that come out of my mouth very often, but I do like the Toronto Maple Leafs tonight. So I like the Leafs. The Panthers-Kings game is interesting. And the Panthers at minus 147 on the money line. It's a decent number. A couple of things to look at here. The Kings have owned the Panthers recently. The Kings have won 7 of their last 8 against Florida. I don't know why. I don't know if it's just one of those things.
Crazy.
However, the Kings have also lost 6 of their last 8 hockey games. Mm-hmm. And 5 of those games were on the road. This one's on the road again. That'll be the 3rd game of this road trip. I would think that Florida, and they've been on the road too. This is their first home game after a 4-game trip away. So if you buy into the long road trip coming home sort of theory, maybe you stay away from the Panthers in this spot. But I have to think Florida has something to prove here against the Los Angeles Kings. I mean, most of that core Florida for the last few years has been dominated in the win-losses by the Los Angeles Kings. So I'm going to go against that Kings trend, and I think I like Florida. So Florida just at minus 147, and the Maple Leafs at minus 172 are plus 166. I don't necessarily want to. I got the Devils Flyers is kind of a stay away game for me. I mean, I don't hate Utah. We could take your underplay. You did mention the under in that game, right? We can move it to 6.5.
I would be okay with that. Just Pittsburgh just can't score right now, man.
Yeah.
They just cannot score.
So if we went under 6.5 in the Pittsburgh-Utah game, which I don't think is in the Undies, which also works out, Maple Leafs, Panthers, and the under 6.5 in the Pittsburgh-Utah game, that gets us to plus 64. So, or 364, I should say, pre-boost. So you good with that?
I am good with that. I'm actually just cooking in my brain right now. I like that there. I think we'll roll with that. We'll get Jake to get that one up. We don't have a prop on him just yet, but Drew Doughty, and I know this kind of goes against the Panthers here, but Drew Doughty is back. He wants to make that Canada team really bad. He's been vocal. I'm going to get a point prop added for him. I'm going to go Drew Doughty with a prop. I know I said William Nylander with a goal. I might go with him with a point. And then I also mentioned the shot total for Jack Hughes. So I think I'm going to put a Patty's prop together.
Okay.
That's what I think I'm going to do. Jack Hughes over 3.5 shots, and then William Nylander and Drew Doughty both to record a point. That'll be Patty's prop parlay.
All right, so you can find all of that, and we'll get that parlay up as well. Leafs, Panthers, and under 6.5. Doughty returning after being gone for so long. I still don't think it changes my mind on the Panthers Kings anyway, so I'm going to leave that in there. Panthers minus 147, Leafs minus 172, and Utah and Pittsburgh under 6.5 at plus 364. Quickly, one more on the NFL before we slide over to Pebble Beach Pro-Am. Somebody was asking, do you think you guys would put odds up at some point of Travis Kelce asking Taylor Swift to marry him right after the Super Bowl?
I'm sure we can get that up. We've had some crazier odds offered before. I think we can put that up. So
I don't see a world where Taylor Swift wants an on the field Super Bowl proposal. I don't think that would happen, but maybe I'm wrong.
No.
Maybe I'm wrong. I proposed to my wife in our bedroom in a condo we shared with other people in Fort McMurray. So it'd be like the exact opposite of that. But I don't know. I feel like, maybe she would. Her whole life's in the spotlight. Maybe that would be, I don't know. But
yeah, I'd
probably bet it one way or the other.
Oh, I'll bet it. I'll absolutely bet it. And whatever happens will be the other side that I bet it. That's just how these things work.
All right, 780-218-9999 if you're listening on TuneIn or iHeart or at EdmontonSportsTalk.com. D-Rock says he's expecting all 3 of my undies tonight to be 8 or over. God, that would be tough. That would be tough. I mean, we went back and looked at the last week yesterday. There was like 4 games that hit 8 all of last week. So I'd be pretty surprised if all 3 of them ended up screwing me tonight, D-Rock. But thanks for your confidence. That is terrific. All right. Here's another one too, actually. This is a text from somebody that's texting in for the first time ever. And they're texting in about the TGL, which is kind of interesting. Like, first text ever to the station. Super fun golf to watch, music, hype, and the players laughing with and at each other makes it entertaining. So they felt that was worth it to send their first text in. So thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for sending that text. All right, Patty, how excited are you with the Pebble Beach Pro-Am here? I'm actually really all over this thing. Yeah, it's awesome.
This is the unofficial start of the golf season for me, Dusty. I know it's a Pro-Am, but I think the AMs only play two days with them. It's at the iconic Pebble Beach golf course. It's a golf course where it's not just the big names that can win. We've seen some big names win here before, but we've also seen some long shots. So that's kind of where I went. Although some of my long shots are technically big names, so a little bit of a teaser there. But I think it is a tournament where you have to not just go down to the bottom and look for long shots, but you also can't spend your time just betting the favorites. It's just not a formula for success, because usually it's the top dogs or long shot that win this tourney.
I'm kind of on a few top dogs in this one. So am I. Yeah. I mean, I couldn't get away from them, to be honest with you. There's just like, I don't have anybody below 18-1. Like, my 3 guys are all 18-1 or better. So I'm not messing around. I mean, I want an early season dub. I'm going to ride with one of these guys to get it done. Let's go back and forth. You give me a guy, I'll give you a guy.
Sure.
Who do you like at the top of the board?
I've got 2 guys with the same number. So I'll start with the 1, Colin Morikawa, 14-1. And Colin's been knocking at the door for his first win since his last one back in 2023. You could argue that Morikawa was one of the best players on tour, probably the most consistent player on tour last year. The only problem, Dusty, is he couldn't finish the job. He just could not win a tournament. We saw so many times runner-up, T5, T4, T10, T12, you name it. Like, the guy was very consistent within that top leaderboard. He just could not get it done. But I think this is a golf course where his ball striking should come into play. We know he's a great, he really improved his short game over the last year as well. We know when his putter is hot, which is very important at a course like this. And the one thing we always talk about how Colin Morikawa, that is maybe his Achilles heel, is he can't hit the ball very long off the tee. That's no problem. Pebble Beach is one of the shortest courses on tour, and it's also a course where you need to stay in the fairway. It doesn't matter how long you bomb it. And that's one thing that he's got. So Colin Morikawa, 14-1 is one of my best bets, and I'll probably play a top placing for him as well.
You mentioned the short course, and that ties into one of my guys that I'm going to start with, 14-1 as well, Justin Thomas. I would get on Justin Thomas here. Strokes gained on very short courses over the past 36 rounds. Nobody has gained more than Justin Thomas. In fact, here are your top 5 strokes gained on very short courses over the past 36 rounds. Justin Thomas, number 1. Rory, number 2. Scotty Scheffler, number 3. So he's better than Scotty Scheffler in that category over the last 36 rounds. Patrick Cantlay, and then Seamish Power is in there as well. A little bit of a surprise, but he finds himself in there. Justin Thomas has also started the year well, took the week off last week, runner-up finish at the Amex, and then was T6 at Pebble last year as well. And you mentioned it, the short course thing. I mean, that is right into his wheelhouse here. And I think this could be the start of a really good season for JT. So I'm going to get on Justin Thomas at 14-1 to get us going. You're on Colin Morikawa at the same number. Where are you going next?
Well, that was my other pick, 14-1. And it's funny that you mentioned that stat about the very short courses. That's on my prep sheet as well here too. So I won't spend too much time, but yeah, 14-1. You're right. I think this could be a big bounce back year for JT. Next up, this is one of my longer-ish shots, but I mentioned it's still a big name. Jason Day, 33-1. Since 2015, the Aussie has finished T7 or better 7 in 9 starts at this event.
Oh,
the other
wow.
2 years, T11 and T24.
Did you say T7 or better in 9 of 11?
Yes.
Holy smokes.
He has absolutely owned this course. And I think he has no choice to be in our partner parlay with a T20 or a T10 or whatever it may be. Well, I'm playing him to win just because of those numbers. But then also when you look at some of the other, his top 5 placing is plus 500. His top 10 placing is plus 260. And his top 20 placing is plus 105. I think my best bet of the entire weekend is for him to be, you get plus money on this guy. I just read it out. He has owned this place, and you're getting plus money for him to finish
a top 20
inside the top 20. And he's going to be wearing an awesome Malbon outfit with a cool sweater and his baggy pants and his fitted cap. I'm all in on Jason Day. I think he's a guy that could have a very big year.
That's a pretty good one. I mean, that course history is insane. So that's
it's not.
Yeah, that's excellent. I mean, that's really nice. Okay, I'll throw. Where am I going next here? God, Huss is in here because I got Patrick Cantlay at 18-1.
No!
Yeah, I was doing it. Hey, it's early in the year. Let's get our Patrick Cantlay plays out of the way now, right? Then we don't have to come back around to it a little bit later on. Good start so far in 2025. T15 at the Century, T5 of the American Express, and his last 4 trips to Pebble: T3, T4, and 2 T11s. So he has been top 12. 4 years in a row at this event. I think I love him and in a top 20 number as what is his top 20 number? I didn't write his top 20 number down.
Give me 1 second. Top 20 is minus 161.
Man, crazy the number on Day in the top 20 to be a plus 105. Like he should be down in that 160, 150 range.
I know.
So yeah, it's chalky with Patrick Cantlay, but he's been all around it 4 straight years at this thing. So Patrick Cantlay 18-1, JT 14-1. Do you have another one in that range, or do you want me to give you my third guy?
No, I'm not. I don't have one in that range.
Okay, let me lay this guy out here for you. Now this is tough because he got sick last week, but I think you have to like Ludwig Aberg here as well. You can look at it 2 ways. Got an extra day off to get ready for this event and start feeling a little bit better. So take that into account. He was sick last week, but let's just lay out some. First of all, he was leading after 36 holes last week before he ended up getting sick. Co-led after 2 rounds in his debut at Pebble last year, finished in a solo second, and leads in strokes gained at Pebble over the last 36 rounds. So you could argue that not many people have played this course better than him. And I love the guy. I mean, might be a little bit of a heart play here, but at 18-1, I do like him as well. I do. So
yeah. I thought long and hard to have him on my card, but I think I have to just suspend him for 1 year because let's be honest, we're just starting the golf season here. There's going to be maybe 3 or 4 times where this guy's not on my card if he's in the event. I bet him
be
all
on
the
there
time.
all the time.
And this is probably the week that he's going to win. So I don't necessarily blame you for it, but I just too much pain last game or last tournament with the flu. So I'm going to go with 2 a little bit longer shots, and I already have 1 California kid. I'll go with another one in Maverick McNeely, 50-1.
Maverick
he's
McNeely.
He's a guy that plays really well in California, all different courses, but he's played really well here as well. Finished 5th and runner-up at Pebble Beach in 2 previous appearances as well. He's another one of these golfers that thrive at short courses, even though you look at him and he mashes the ball. Well, he can also keep it, he can keep it in the middle of the fairway as well. He can also use his 3-wood. He's a guy that kind of really fits this mold as well. And over the past 36 rounds, McNeely ranks 3rd in the field in strokes gained putting on POA grass. So he's a guy that his flat stick can heat up. His win earlier this year, or I guess it was at the tail end of last year, was a putting contest. He can win those birdie fests. So I've got him there as well. Do you have another one there, Dustin?
No, I just have those three. I just I was chalky this week. That was it. I didn't look at it. Mind you, I got another top 20 number I like, but go ahead.
I've got one more, and it's another long shot, and I'm sure you probably have an idea. But Akshay Bhatia, 80-1. At that number, I had to do it, man.
You're on Bhatia every week. I love it.
Every week I'm on it. But the thing is, there's actually a little bit of course, course comparison here. He's a guy, when the wind blows, you've got to bet on Bhatia. The way that he's able to shape his shots, the flight of his tee shots or his approach, like he's a guy that can really play well in the wind. When you look at when he won in Texas down in San Antonio, really windy conditions. When he won his first event on the Corn Ferry Tour, it was on a coastal golf course. When he won in Bermuda for his first ever PGA Tour, Bermuda, coastal. The guy plays really well in these coastal golf tournaments. And to be honest, at 80-1, I just feel like that is such disrespect for a guy that came bursting onto the scene last year and just doesn't really fit where the rest of the golfers are at 80-1. I think he should be much, much closer to where McNeely is, or even a little bit further up the board. So if you put an 80-1 hanging here, Coolbet, there's no way I'm not taking Bhatia at 80-1. I just cannot not do it.
All right, so let's build a parlay. Well, actually, no, let's talk about this other guy first.
I want to hear this one.
Well, Pendy. I mean, when you look at what he's done here, let me just lay it out. I got some notes here. Only 3 players this week are gaining more strokes on the field in their last 5 events. Those 3 players are Scotty Scheffler, Justin Thomas, and Hideki. T7 in his last appearance at Pebble in 2023. A T7 at the Farmers Insurance Open, his second top 15 finish of 2025, and his 11th in the last months. And when he last appeared at Pebble in 2023, walked it off with that T7 and a field low tying 64. So I had Pendy as a possible top 20 because you can get it at plus 145, which I don't.
Yeah, that's a really good number. And again, so many people, and for good reason, when you think of Taylor Pendrith, you think of him mashing the ball off the tee. And this isn't a course that you really play the long hitters because it's so short, but you laid it out. Like he's much, much more than just a bruiser off the tee. His approach game this past year was phenomenal. His putting has gotten so much better. He's got the magic beans with his wedge. We've seen him chip in. We've seen him compete in these tournaments that become birdie fest. The one thing is, it's like, okay, can he get over the hump? Can he finally win one of these tournaments? We know he's won before on tour, but can he win going up against Scotty Scheffler?
The big guys,
Can't even believe we haven't brought up like guys like Rory or Scheffler, but I'm not betting Scotty Scheffler at 5-1 when we haven't even seen the guy.
5-1 is I get it. Scotty Scheffler had some insane numbers pre-tournament last year, but 5-1 when we haven't even seen him yet, I couldn't swallow it. I couldn't do it.
And it's a course that you have to putt well. You will see this weekend, Dusty, guys are going to be missing 5-footers, 4-footers, 6-footers. Like it's normally that are like automatic. The way that these greens are undulated like a rat, like everywhere, there are a lot of makeup. It looks like it's a makeable putt and he's going to miss. We see Scotty Scheffler do that all the time on easier courses. The thing that's separating him from Tiger Woods is the putting. Like that's what's held him back from a historic run, really. If he could be a putter, average tour putter, the numbers show that he probably should have 10 to 12 more wins each year, which is insane. So the fact that this is a course where you got to be dialed in with your flat stick, you're getting it to 5-1. And sure enough, if he wins this thing and proves that he's back, I'll sleep at night. I just can't, in my heart of hearts, pay a guy 5-1 when we haven't even seen him. And it just seems like it's not exactly the best course fit for him anyways.
All right, so what do we do for a parlay here, buddy? I mean, we've got Morikawa. We're both on Thomas. I loved your Jason Day play as well. I mean, if we're both on JT and you're on J Day and you convinced me there, I mean, what do we put together here? Do we go like, are we doing top 20s? Could we go Justin Thomas top 10? J-Day top 20?
We could do if we want to. Yeah, if we want to get a little bit of a better number, we could, because JT's top 10 numbers plus 130, minus 190 for top 20.
Yeah.
I mean, I would be okay if you want to go take your Ludwig pick at top 20, take Justin Thomas top 20 and Jason Day top 20.
Straight up 20s across the board. That's
20, 20, 20. Could do that if we wanted to get a better number. We could throw a Pendy in there. We could throw a Mav McNeely in there. Who else did I have? Battier, Akshay was a little bit further down the line. Morikawa, maybe a top 20.
I mean, I would rather have Cantlay in there than Ludwig this week, just because of the sickness last week. Like,
okay, so we could go. I mean,
4 straight top 11s. I mean, get him in the top 20. What's his number? Minus 161.
161. So JT, Cantlay, Day.
A Day number, I hope, is a plus 105.
And then maybe one more. Maybe do we want to throw in a
okay, so who'd you say? Who do we have right now? Who'd you put in there?
Cantlay, JT, and Day. We could just roll with that. It'll be a little bit of a shorter number. Won't be a
huge number. It'll be a shorter number, but I mean,
or we throw a Pendy in there. We could throw in.
Just looking at the 20s here.
Morikawa. Do we want to put Morikawa in there to give it a touch more juice?
A slight little boost.
It'll give us a bit of a boost.
I mean, you made a pretty convincing case for Maverick McNeely.
Could do McNeely.
Bump up the number significantly.
So we go Thomas, Cantlay, McNeely, and
Day.
And Day. You're probably looking at like 16-1 on that.
That's a big one.
If we go,
what would it be without McNeely? Like, can you ballpark that one?
JT, Cantlay, and Day.
Yeah,
probably like 5-1ish if I had to guess, just based off the numbers.
I mean, 5-1. 5-1's 5-1. I mean, it's not bad, and those are 3.
If we go Morikawa, though, you're probably looking closer to like plus 1,000.
If we throw Morikawa in with those 3 guys,
yeah.
All right, let's do that. Let's just go 4. Let's just go all 4 top 20s.
Okay, so Cantlay, Morikawa, Thomas, and Day.
Oh, that'd be you're looking
at probably 900 plus a boost, so somewhere around the 10-1 area, if I had to guess.
Excellent. All right, you'll be able to find that in the combo cards over at Coolbet. Also a Coolbet, of course. You're going to want to go there, coolbet.com. You can play in your browser. It's very easy to just download the poker software, but we'll be playing poker tonight. Tommy Gazzola with a bounty on his head. He's going to sit down here and do oil stream with me right away. We'll obviously continue to talk about the event tonight, but it'll get going at 8 o'clock Edmonton time tonight. If you would like to join us, come and get those bounties on our heads tonight. I'll be streaming on our YouTube channel as well as I'm really looking forward to the poker event tonight. So, Patty, wish me luck, my man.
Yes, good luck. The vibes are coming your way. Good vibes are coming your way. And remember, the poker gods are on your side tonight.
Yeah, they are tonight. Tonight's the night. I can't wait. For Pat Gregoire, I am Dustin Nielson. Good luck, unless you're in the poker tournament tonight, because I want to beat you. But good luck tonight. Thank you very much for joining us today. And we will talk to you tomorrow on The Lock Shop.